Well, good morning, everyone. Once again, my computer has decided that it doesn't like Facebook Live, so I'm working from my phone. Well, we're an hour earlier, or so it seems, for our Sunday service on March 14th. Welcome. My name is Rev Bobbi, and I'd like to welcome you to St. Bridget's Spiritualist Church Facebook feed for the Sunday service. It is so lovely to see how many people join us each week and how many people view this service after the fact. I love that we can get together even though we're still apart. At this time, I invite you to enter your initials into the chat and or enter initials of those that you feel that need healing, pardon me. And during our healing portion of the service, we will take a moment to send our thoughts, especially to those that are listed. And apparently my dogs are excited to hear about this morning too. So we're going to start with an opening prayer. So if you take a moment, please, bow your heads, close your eyes, relax, and draw your thoughts to those of our Creator. Divine and infinite Spirit, we feel so blessed to be able to come together in this manner, to speak words of love and healing, and spread the thoughts and the power of spiritualism. Please be with us as we work together for the good of all man. Amen. And I will recite the 7 principles. As spiritualists, we recognize the following principles. A divine source recognized as God, the unity of all life, communication, guidance, and healing from the spirit world, the continuous existence of the Spirit, personal responsibility for every thought, word, and action, reward and consequence for all deeds according to God's natural laws. Eternal progress is open to every spirit, and freedom of interpretation of the 7 principles is always acknowledged. Good morning, everyone. So we'll take a moment and do our healing prayer before we get to our healing service. And once again, I ask that you put the initials of those that you feel need healing into the chat. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and the power of God. Amen. Sorry, I woke up with a bit of a frog. I taught a course yesterday, so I talked a lot. So now we'll take a moment and do a healing meditation. So please get comfortable in your chair, closing your eyes and allowing your body to relax. Open your heart and your mind to the healing that is provided through the divine. As you begin to relax, taking nice deep breaths in, allowing all the tension and stress to release from your body with every breath that is exhaled. I want you to imagine yourself in a bubble. It surrounds you. It's comfortable and warm and full of love. It is your space. It is where you feel the most comfortable. And imagine for a moment that through the top of this bubble, light starts to pour in. It is pure and clean and bright. It is the light of the divine. Imagine it filling this bubble from the bottom all the way to the top and everywhere in between, until your entire bubble is full of light and love. Being cocooned in this beautiful light gives you a sense of relaxation, a sense of love, a sense of caring, and a sense of peace. And as you breathe in, the light begins to enter through the top of your head. And as you breathe out, it grows stronger and brighter. As it fills and slides down through your body, you feel more and more of the tension, stress, aches, and pains begin to wash through, being replaced by love and by light. It moves down to your shoulders, down your arms to the tips of your fingers, down through your torso, surrounding every organ, filling every space, down your legs to the very tips of your toes. This light completely fills you, leaving you with a sense of love, a sense of calm, warmth, peace. Knowing that this light is working its magic, that of the divine, healing anywhere that is necessary, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It has no limits. As you sit in this peace and this comfort, bring to mind the initials that are posted in the chat. Those friends, those loved ones who are in need of support and love. And send some of this light by thought to their bubble, adding to the sense of peace and calm that the divine can bring to them. Take a moment to sit in this peace, feeling the love and the light, knowing that through the divine, all things are possible. Feel it work for you, with you, around you. this light continues to be with you, working for you and around you. Imagine it growing brighter and stronger, working past the confines of your bubble, stretching out into the world, filling that light and that love around everyone in your neighborhood, in your city, in your province, in the country, and around the world. And know that no matter how far the light goes, it doesn't diminish the light that's around you. It is infinite in its power, and by sharing with others, it in no way diminishes what you have. In fact, the more you share, the stronger it is around you. So feel the power and the energy of this love and light surrounding the world, bringing peace, comfort, and healing to all those in need. Now draw your attention back to your own bubble. Feel the presence of that light filling you and surrounding you. And know that it never is truly gone. And while we bring end to this portion of our service, know that the light and the love continues to work in a healing fashion around you as you go forward in your week. And I encourage you to take a few moments every day to just recognize that you're surrounded by this love and this light. And feel the power of that knowing. Now again, bring your attention back to your breath, the breathing in and the breathing out, the vital air we need to survive. Feel your body in your chair and become again aware of the room and of the service that we are presenting. Slowly and gently, when you're ready, open your eyes and join in once again. Thank you, everyone. We are really, truly blessed to be surrounded by this divine, and everyone is. Not everyone is aware of it. And it's really nice once in a while to just tune in as a reminder that we are surrounded by that love and that light. I just wanted to do a really quick thank you. Last week on Saturday, we did an event for the first time as a collective group of churches in Alberta. We had one that couldn't join us of the four. They'd had another event that they had planned already. But we were joined by 45 people who booked appointments for healing and for mediumship and for tarot cards. And this was a fundraiser for our churches. But we worked together as a collective of Alberta churches, and we had people from all across Canada join us. And it was a beautiful thing. It was, and I've talked to a few people from the other churches, and the one that couldn't join us said, please make sure we do this again so that we can all do it. And it was so nice to have us all work together and support each other in this. And I know we're going to be doing it again because each of the other churches has now said they would like to do the same kind of thing so that we can keep in contact and remind each other that we're not alone in this world. So it was really very nice, and for all those that did join us and book sittings and healings and whatnot, it was really nice to have you there and visit with you. So thank you for your support, and we look forward to doing that again. As most of you are aware, this past week or the week before, for heaven's sakes, time just seems to run away from me. It was International Women's Day, and we celebrated women from around the world. And I just wanted to talk a little bit today about women in spiritualism, because as an organization, a religion, or whatever you'd like to call spiritualism, we have been one of the forefronts of women's rights and acceptance of women as people, for heaven's sakes. I know that's a crazy thought, but when spiritualism really came to the forefront and started to really form as a movement before it even became a religion, was in March 31st, 1848. At that time, really, women didn't have rights. They were considered property. Very few women were allowed to be educated. Very few women were allowed to work. And those that were tended to have very menial jobs. A lot of them were not very nice. When a woman married, she became the property of her husband. A lot of times women weren't allowed to own real estate property in any fashion. If something happened in a marriage and the marriage dissolved and divorce happened, which was rare back then, but not unheard of, at that point the women gave up everything, including children. And it's very interesting to me that spiritualism actually really brought women to the forefront. And we can talk very much about even individual women, and I will talk about a few of them that really were on the leading edge. But as a whole, in religion, women weren't seen as I don't know, necessary or important, I guess is a better word. They were parishioners, but they were never allowed to be in important positions in churches. Spiritualism was one, if not the first, to actually ordain women. And when we look at the history of spiritualism, women were always on the forefront. We go right back to the first days of modern spiritualism when the Fox sisters, two young girls and their mother, started recognizing that the spirit world could communicate intelligently with those here in the physical world. And from there was an explosion of women who came to the forefront of this movement at the time. And we have women like Emma Hardage Britton, and Matthew, if you're listening, I know I said that wrong. She was a really powerful woman for the time, and she was a huge influence in the women's movement of the time. We're talking about a time women couldn't vote. They didn't hold power within government at all. And Emma actually had the ear of Abraham Lincoln. And lots of people didn't know that Lincoln's wife was a spiritualist. And they even had seances and whatnot at the White House at that time. But in the Underground Railroad, for the freedom of the slaves, spiritualism played a huge part, and spiritualists played a huge part in moving the slaves into a place of freedom. And Emma played a big part of that, and had the ear of the president and at the time, and certainly during the Civil War played a part in sharing the message that freedom of slaves was important. But not only that, but the women's movement was important. Suffragettes at the time, trying to gain a political hold and be able to even vote on the political parties. Spiritualism again was at the forefront of that. And through that time, many of the mediums of the time and the spiritualists of the time were women. And it's not that there weren't men, because I don't want us to leave them out. But the women, the fact that they faced so much criticism and whatnot because they were on the forefront and because the women of the time had so little holding in the world. When women talked, people didn't listen for the most part. So when we have spiritualism come along, and we have women like Emma, and I don't want to say she's the only one, but as a leader in spiritualism, she certainly was a power force to be reckoned with. And one of the things that really came about was this idea of this trance speaking, and the philosophy that they brought forward from the spirit world. And as spiritualists, we believe that all people are equal, that we are all of spirit, that there isn't a good, bad, or an indifference, that we are all of spirit. And so that was kind of the first time in modern history where that was being brought to the forefront, is that we needed to treat all people with respect, no matter their, their religion, their color, their religion, or their gender, sorry. So it's something I'm very proud of, and it's something that I'm when I look back on my own history, and I've always been very much in favor of women's rights, and had to stand up for that. And it just brings me back to that power that women can bring to spiritualism, and how spiritualism was built on the power of women. As I said, I taught a course yesterday, and we talked about the science of spiritualism, and how for all those years, and still to this day, it is mostly women that are put through the paces of harsh criticism and harsh testing, especially in the early days. Some of the things they had to endure to prove that what they were doing wasn't a hoax or fraudulent was really quite amazing. And the fact that they continued and persevered through it is a testament to their strength of character. And without those types of women who stood firm on their beliefs, we wouldn't be in a position today to offer a service like we are right now, where we can talk about spirit and life after death, and the fact that we can communicate with them through our mediumship and through healing and philosophy. And we have beautiful works like Silver Birch that come through and talk about man, and how we've treated each other poorly, and how all people are seen in the same light from the spirit world. It's one is not held above the other. It's not about position. It's about being a spiritual person, not necessarily having the most money or the most things. Or it's about how we treat each other, and how we live in a life of service. So on International Women's Day, and I guess they're considering it now Women's History Month, apparently. I didn't realize that until I started looking at it. But I just wanted to celebrate women, and Emma Hardinge Britten, who went through incredible times to bring her message of freedom and equal rights for all. We have the Fox sisters who really tested everywhere, or were tested everywhere, in terms of being able to make their message heard, and that the spirit world did survive death, and that we could communicate with them. And we have beautiful mediums such as Helen Duncan, and I know I've spoken of her before in services, who was a beautiful physical medium who was tested many times and ultimately died because of her beliefs, and the fact that she stood by her craft, and it led to her untimely death. But all these women, and we could list many, many Canadian and American women as well, who stood by, or didn't stand by, sorry, were on the forefront of spiritualism, and progressing it from a movement to a religion. So I feel very, very blessed to be a part of that, and to be able to benefit from what they sacrificed for me to be here today as a minister, to share with you how I feel about spiritualism. So thank you very much for joining me, and celebrate women around you. They're important to all of us. So with that, I'm going to move on to our announcements. Again, we have St. Bridget's. I always call it St. Bridget's Pantry, but really we're calling it Bridget's Pantry. And we have this available for anyone who is in need. One of the, we talk about service and serving people. Well, our church wants to serve people as well, and we know that there are people out there who are in need. So we've chosen to move to using gift cards rather than actually having groceries in the cupboard, because of course we can't be there to monitor the longevity of these products. So we do have gift cards available to people, and if there's somebody who is shut in and can't do it, we could certainly pick up goods for them and deliver them. But if you have someone you know who could use a helping hand, please let us know, either through our email or through the chat, or contact any one of us at the church. That would be just fine. We can help them out, and if you're ever wanting to donate to that, you can also let us know, and we can get in contact with you and let us know how that can happen. We, of course, always are very thankful for those who do free will offerings to our church in support of our keeping our doors open, so to speak, virtually right now. But we do still have the church, and we still pay rent on the building, and we keep praying that we will be able to physically be there soon. Please, again, like us on Facebook, share this message. Our purpose of putting this out here is to connect with each of the people who we've been considering family for years or new to us, but also to share the message of spiritualism to all people. Those who are in need will always find us. So we are still offering as ministers to do one-on-one readings or healings, and you can book those by simply going to St. Bridget's Spiritualist Church.ca. One of the confusions we had last weekend, there are two S's, St. Bridget's Spiritualist Church. So there's two S's in the middle of that. And you can also go to our website and look at our emails are linked in there. One other announcement for the Spiritualist Church of Canada. As I'm part of that as well, we have moved to a divine service online as part of the pandemic and the response to our education, our education program that reaches out across Canada, where not always a church is available to our students. And our next divine service is March 20th in Alberta. It's at 10 a.m. and all the details can be found on the Spiritualist Church of Canada's website. Well, thank you once again for joining us, and we'll close in prayer. So please again, take a moment and bow your heads and take your thoughts to that of the divine. Infinite Creator, we thank you for this time together, for the bringing together of like minds and spirits to share the message of spiritualism. We thank you for the women who came before to pioneer spiritualism across the world, to bring harmony and peace and equality to all. Please watch over us as we move forward in our week, and until we can gather again, keep us all in peace and good health. Amen. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Same place, same time, without the time change. So enjoy your week.